Okay, guys, we got another video for you today. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what rights 14th Amendment citizen of the United States actually has and which ones they don't have. Okay, first off, we'll have to talk about this. What is a 14th Amendment citizen? Well, it's anyone, any person born or naturalized and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So let's take a look at this. All right, this is our 14th Amendment, or somebody's 14th Amendment. All right, we're going to look at this whole section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. And we probably covered this many times. You may have read this yourself, whatever. We're going to talk about the next part here. It says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now, this is the interesting part here because it says no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Okay, so what are their privileges and what are their immunities, right? If you're not a 14th Amendment citizen, if you're a national, right, state citizen, whatever, if you're a national, then this does not apply to you. But check it out, because if you are a citizen of the United States, and you're like, I'm a citizen, I go vote. Oh, hear me out. This is what's going on, okay? Because persons is not what you think it means in here, okay? Persons is not natural person. It is a legal entity created by and under the laws of a government, okay? That's from Black Law's Dictionary. I'm not going to go into all that, but let's go into this. The Incorporation Doctrine, okay? Now, the Incorporation Doctrine is a constitutional doctrine through which parts of the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution, known as the Bill of Rights, are made applicable to the states. Oh, you didn't know that? Wait a second. Let's digest that for a second. You did not know that the Bill of Rights were not applicable to the states, did you? Okay, that's right. It says the Incorporation Doctrine is a constitutional doctrine through which parts of the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution, known as the Bill of Rights, are made applicable to the states through the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. Oh, let's go back to our Due Process Clause, right? Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. I mean, there's other sections in here and stuff too. Here's the most here's one of the unconstitutional parts of the 14th Amendment, by the way. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debt, blah, 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 shall not be questioned. Well, what happened to freedom of speech? Well, 14th Amendment citizens don't have freedom of speech. Well, you kind of do now, all right? At that point in time, you didn't. You kind of do now, but you still can't question it. Okay? Now, this is interesting. Yes, we'll go into which rights are there, which ones are not. Okay? The Incorporation Doctrine. Okay, now, the incorporation applies to both substantively and procedurally, okay? Now, prior to the doctrines and 14th Amendment's existence, the Supreme Court found that the Bill of Rights to only apply to the federal government in federal court cases. During the signing of the Constitution, every state in negotiation had different levels of concerns with the too powerful federal government, and the preamble to the Bill of Rights highlights the importance of the Bill of Rights in limiting overreach to the newly created government. The Supreme Court noted that the Bill of Rights were clearly intended to limit only the federal government. State and state courts should choose to adopt similar laws, but were under no obligation to do so. Okay, they did have them. If you go look at the states' constitutions, or at least their original ones, a lot of them have redone them. They did honor the Bill of Rights, but these incorporation doctrines after the 14th Amendment. Okay, now you have a whole group of citizens and different types of citizens Instead of having a citizen of the state, and you now have a citizen of the federal government. And the federal government became incorporated 1871. Okay, and now it's a federal corporation under 28 U.S. Code 3002. Okay, and now here we have them incorporating the Bill of Rights into the states, or the state ofs, which are subsidiary corporations of the federal government. They're all federal. Okay, which means there is no state rights. That's why the 10th Amendment doesn't actually exist, because there is no state rights. Okay, so people you got to wrap your head around this one. But the states still exist on paper, but we're talking about 14th Amendment citizenship, which, all these corporations would be considered citizens of the United States. All right. After the passage of the 14th Amendment, the Supreme Court, through a string of cases, found that due process clause of the 14th Amendment included applying parts of the Bill of Rights to states, referred to as incorporation. A lot of contention surrounding whether the 14th Amendment should incorporate any substantive rights, with opinions from Supreme Court justices ranging from complete to no incorporation. Rather than find that the due process clause incorporates all of the Bill of Rights, the Supreme Court supported selectively incorporating rights that the court finds as essential to due process. Under selective incorporation, the Supreme Court incorporated certain parts of certain amendments rather than incorporating an entire amendment at once. Okay, so you see what they did is they go, well, this is going to help with this is what part of due process. So we're gonna put this into the states. Okay. Now, what are they doing here? Well, this tells you how much power the federal government has and the Supreme Court has, right? Some argue that the Privileges and Immunities Clause is a more appropriate textual basis than the Due Process Clause for incorporation of the Bill of Rights. But because slaughterhouse cases, which I have 2 videos on, you definitely should check those out if you've not watched those. All right, dealing with this clause is surrounded by controversy. This theory is not supported by the majority of the court. Okay, so the slaughterhouse cases, just to put it plainly, was basically trying to stop a monopoly. Okay, people were told that they could not slaughter their own pigs, animals on their property, that they had to go and pay someone else to do it, which is a violation of the 13th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment came up quite a bit in there, and they're talking about how, well, if you're a federal citizen or a citizen of the United States, you don't really have any of these rights. But a citizen of the state does have all of their rights, and they're completely secured and protected by the Constitution. All right, all their natural rights are protected by the Constitution. Okay, natural rights, not civil rights. Civil rights are what citizens of the United States get. Okay, but a state citizen or a national would have natural rights that are protected by our Constitution. Okay, right? So that's the slaughterhouse cases went over that, like involuntary servitude, because now you're being forced to pay for a service that you don't really want to pay for. Kind of like car registration, right? Oh, you have to register your car. Isn't that a violation of the 13th Amendment? It sure is. Involuntary servitude, that's illegal. I don't want to. All right, so now, as a note, the 9th Amendment and 10th Amendment have not been incorporated, and it is unlikely that they ever will be. What? Why? Well, here's good reason. Let's show you. Let's look at this reason why. Let's look at the 9th Amendment. Very short, okay? The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The state doesn't want to give citizens of the United States this much power. Do you know how much power that is right there in that one sentence? That's a tremendous amount of power. You can retain any right that has not been talked about or mentioned in the Constitution. And if you say, hey, this is my right, as long as it's not hurting anyone or causing any kind of damage or creating a victim, it's your right. The 9th Amendment is a very, very, very powerful Amendment. And people really need to know this one, because every time someone complains about something stupid in politics that's going on in current politics, I say, well, Ninth Amendment, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. And I say, well, it's one sentence. It's one sentence. You should know the Ninth Amendment. It's very powerful. But this is where people are going to scratch their heads. The 10th Amendment, which I think some people are more familiar with. So I'm going to show you this one. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Okay, so again, it talks about states' rights and people's rights. Okay, the rights of the people. Okay, the right of the state. Now, let's go back to our Incorporation Doctrine. These have not been incorporated, which means they do not belong in a 14th Amendment state. So you tell me, one, how does the state have any authority to create all these laws, or not laws, codes, statutes, ordinances? They don't. They don't even have a 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment doesn't exist. Neither does the 9th Amendment. So how can anyone say, I have rights, I have rights? You don't have any rights, buddy. Sorry. You only get the ones that are in the indoctrination or the Incorporation Doctrine. Okay, that's it. If you're a citizen of the United States, this is what you get, and we're going to go into it. Okay, so there is full incorporation and partial incorporation and no incorporation. All right, I like this because they actually broke it down really nicely in here. Okay, so the First Amendment was fully incorporated. All the rights that are listed in the First Amendment are guaranteed now, okay, in all the 14th Amendment states. So, hey, if you're a citizen of the United States, you have fully the First Amendment rights. But if you're a citizen of the United States, you don't have some of the other rights, okay? Second Amendment is fully incorporated, although I kind of question that because some of the states don't like to issue gun permits, okay? You got some problems with that one. Oh, you know, you're going to have to, someone has to be following you with a gun in front of the judge in order for the judge to give you a permit. That's, I swear, you can't make this stuff up. Okay, Third Amendment is not incorporated. This is a big deal, by the way. The Third Amendment protects you from having soldiers come into your home and take over your home. Okay, like it's crazy. Here, let's look at it real quick. Let's go U.S. Constitution. We're gonna go Amendment 3. Okay, ordering of troops. Okay, no soldier shall, in a time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Is that a right you should have? Yeah, I would say so. But if anyone knows history, they know that, you know, during the Revolutionary War, before that, soldiers would just come into people's homes and take them over. They still do it overseas, by the way. You know, not to knock anybody, any soldiers out there watching this and go, oh, it happens, I know. But in America, you're supposed to have that right. But sorry, U.S. citizens, you don't have that right. It's not part of the Incorporation Doctrine. Okay, so you have your First Amendment rights, you have your Second Amendment rights, but you do not have Third Amendment rights. Soldiers can come into your house. That's why I have this flag. Okay, this flag right here secures the fact that I am not opening up my stuff to, you can't really see that, can you? Okay, see, this is the civil peace flag. It's for civilians and peace. So you wave that outside your house and technically shouldn't be come barging in, right? That's supposed to help secure your Third Amendment right. Okay, now let's get back into this. All right, now your Fourth Amendment right, fully incorporated. Phew. So they can't just search you and seize you. So yes, you can use this with the police and stuff like that. TSA technically should not be just searching everybody when you walk on the planes. I don't know why people let them do that. Oh, we'll have to. No, you have Fourth Amendment rights, dude. Even a U.S. citizen has that right, okay? Nationals have that right automatically. They just let them go through. Whoop. If you pull out a passport and you're a national, they don't even search you. They let you go right through. Okay, Fifth Amendment is partially incorporated, okay? Does it say which ones are not? No, it doesn't say it in here. Right to indictment by a grand jury is not incorporated. So there's no grand jury. Double jeopardy, we got that. Okay, that we've seen that, right? Right against self-incrimination, shut up, don't talk to the cops, don't answer questions. There you go. You don't even have to give them your ID if you don't want to. So, oh, I need your driver's license and registration. Am I under arrest? No. Well, detainment's an arrest, isn't it? Well, yeah. All right. So, can you read me my rights? Yeah. Oh, can't self-incriminate. Can't give you any of that stuff you want now. All right. I have to talk to my attorney. All right. You'll have to talk to him before I can go any further with you. He's not available right now. Sorry. All right. Protection against taking property without due compensation. Well, that's a nice one, right? That's good. All right. So the right to indictment by grand jury is not incorporated, but you do have the right to shut up, not talk. All right. You have that right. That's an important one. Sixth Amendment, right to a speedy trial. We have that. Right to a public trial, impartial jury, notice of accusations. Okay. Right to confront hostile witnesses, right to compulsory process to obtain witness testimony. Okay. There's a lot of the look right to jury selected from residents of the state and district where the crime occurred, not incorporated. You don't have that right. Right to counsel. Right to confront favorable witnesses. Okay, so you have some of these rights, but you don't get this one. Seventh Amendment is not incorporated. Let's take a look at the Seventh Amendment. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court in the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So what are they telling you there? You don't have common law. Sorry, U.S. citizens, you don't have common law. You don't have any of that. Okay, it's gone. You're a U.S. citizen? I'm a U.S. citizen. Well, you don't have common law. If you don't know what that means that you're under statutory regulations and not the Constitution. There's only parts of the Constitution that you're really under. Okay. Eighth Amendment, protection against excessive bail. That's nice. Protection against excessive fines. Well, I would say that's true, but I mean, people get hammered thousands of dollars over stupid fines for motor vehicle offenses. Okay. That's unreasonable, and they do it anyway all the damn time, and people don't even stand up for their rights. Protection against cruel and unusual punishments. Phew, thank goodness, right? Although getting punished for, something like that didn't hurt anybody or do anything bad, that's still cruel and unusual punishment for something that's not even a crime. Now, reverse incorporation refers to the Supreme Court using case law to fill in the gaps when deciding issues which the Supreme Court itself has not considered before. This doctrine has not been used very often by the Supreme Court. Okay, so now they're doing it in reverse. They're using state law to fill in these gaps, right, with the Supreme Court cases. But that's pretty much it, okay? So that doesn't happen too much. I guess you can see these other ones. I'm not going to look at those. But yeah, this is our incorporation doctrine. Okay, this is why you don't have the right to travel if you're a U.S. citizen. I mean, technically you do, but you don't. It's supposed to be under the Fifth Amendment, or the Ninth Amendment, but you can win that if you appeal it all the way to the Supreme Court, but there is nothing like that. All right, so that's pretty much it. This is why U.S. citizens get stomped all over, okay? Because if you're a U.S. citizen, you're under the 14th Amendment, the states are under the 14th Amendment, and they're not going to grant you at all of the rights under the Bill of Rights. You're only going to get the ones that the Supreme Court has ruled on, okay? So that's pretty much it for that. So, see you guys in the next video. Peace.